Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name's Perry Phillips. I go by Perry Flips on Instagram, Pothead Picker on X or Twitter. If you like the show, subscribe. Check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you get podcasts. Tell your friends. Another week. We're in the thick of quarter four right now. And I've been trying to ship every day. I feel like when you ship every day, have said this before, but I just feel like, that's like what really matters most. Like obviously listing and lowering prices, but I don't know. In my experience, it's probably doesn't, it's probably just my own imagination. But like anytime I'm like today, I had like 5 or 6 packages from like after I went to the post office yesterday, and then I get home from the post office and I already had like 2 orders. You know what I mean? That came in after I dropped the stuff off at the post office. I don't know, obviously it's going to be more busy with the holidays and shit, but I sold one thing that was pretty old. Not old, but like that I've had for a while. And then another thing I sold that was just previously listed not too long ago. So I think, people are definitely buying. I mean, Black Friday, I wish I didn't do that. I'll talk more about it in a little bit, but I wish I had just done what I normally do on Black Friday. That's why I fucking don't ever listen to YouTubers. So yeah, I'll get back to that. But yeah, Christmas is coming. I actually ordered my wife's gift already, because I always wait and I'm like, oh, I'm going to fucking da-da-da-da-da. I ordered one of her gifts. The one, I think I had talked about this before. Again, she won't ever listen to, she'll listen to this if I forced her to listen to it. But other than that, she's not going to listen to this. So she, one of the things she asked for was a ring or something. And man, it's fucking difficult to try to. So I tried calling, because I got the ring years ago in another state. Her engagement ring or her wedding ring or whatever. And so I got that in a separate state. And I called them to be like, hey, do you know the size? Like, what size? Is there a way to pull up what size ring we got? And they're like, well, if you got it resized, then we won't be able to tell you. And I'm like, but I got it resized through you. So they're like, yeah, we still don't know. So I'm just kind of like, so the other day I was just happened to be up in the bathroom, or I was somewhere and her ring was just right there. So I was like, fuck, man. And she was in the bedroom. So I had brought up a tape measure so I could measure the diameter or the fucking radius or whatever the fuck it's called of the ring, to try to get an idea of the size. And so she was in the bedroom, so I'm like, fuck, well, I can't go in there and because this bitch will be like, what the fuck, what are you doing? So I had to take a picture of the ring next to my thumb. I don't even know if I took a picture. I just kind of tried to remember based on what my fingers looked like. So I'm hoping I end up getting the right size. But it's just such a pain in the ass, and of course that's what she asked for. So I was like, all right, well, I'll get her something else first, because it's something I was going to get her last year. And so I was like, all right, I'll get it for her this year. I got one of those Aura frames. I wish I had, they don't sponsor the podcast, but I know they sponsor a bunch of podcasts. But that's where I've heard about them. So it's essentially a frame that you can load pictures. You can load, anytime you take pictures, you just load your pictures onto it. So she can just fucking always have changing, one rotating picture frame. So I'm sure she's going to be pumped about that. Loves to take pictures constantly. So that'll be I think that's a good one. I thought about getting it for somebody else, but they're just fucking pricey, man. And I could barely justify do it. You know what I mean? I was going to get it last year and I'm like, oh, maybe the price will go down. And it's the same fucking price. I'm like, this is just a picture frame, with Bluetooth capability. What the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean? It uses cloud service to fucking, why the fuck is it so much money? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so Black Friday. So yeah, so what I did was I saw some YouTuber, I think it was Rockstar Flipper or something like that, and he was like, "Oh, increase your prices by like 100% and then decrease them by 50%." And I was like, "All right," and concept seems solid, so I was like, "All right, I'll do that." And I did it, and it just like I lowered some prices before, but it didn't really do much. Like it was basically like I had like probably like I don't know, sales I probably would have had anyway. So then yeah. So then I was going to change it. Like I was like, "Oh, well fuck, if like halfway through the weekend if the sales aren't really picking up, I can always just change the sale and like end the sale early and then start a new one." Which I did. Like I ended up doing. I didn't have time that weekend because it was. I'll get into that why I didn't have time later. But on like Sunday night going into Cyber Monday, I was like, all right, let me end this sale a little bit early, and then I will just basically like have my regular prices with like a 25% off. So I did that, and I got a few more sales than I actually did on that Friday. But I don't know. I mean, I think I've had one huge day on Black Friday. Like, it might have been like 2 years ago. I did like $1,000 on Black Friday, and since then it's been like, I mean, it's been a while since I've made $1,000 in a day. But I also don't have like I've kind of switched what I'm not like switched what I'm selling, but I've kind of sell what I can find. Like I just offloaded a bunch of like two bins of vintage toys. Like it was stuff that was like I was gonna eventually sell, but it was like I just don't want to be sitting on all this stuff. I think I had like $5 into all of it. You know what I mean? So I sold it for quick. Like I sold it for $80 cash. It's a quick $75. And then I've got a couple other ones that I have talked about that I got, when I cleaned up my pile. And here's the thing so I just had talking a couple weeks ago. I'm like, oh, I fucking cleaned up my death pile. Like I'm getting low on my death pile, which I am. I haven't really I've picked up a couple things, but as soon as I pick them up, I list them. Like I'm looking at a jacket right now that I have to just, as soon as this podcast is done, I'm just going to list it or take a picture of it so it's ready to list and then, put it into where it goes. But I've cleaned up so much space. But then what happens is like, so my birthday and my wife's birthday were last week. So hers is like, was on Wednesday. Mine was on Friday. And so we were like, all right, well, like Saturday we can have some people over. So my wife ended up getting like a free turkey or something from Costco. So she's like, oh, let's do Friendsgiving because I have to work on Thanksgiving. But we were still going to my cousin's to have Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm like, okay. So I tried to get out of it. Like, I should have just clearly been like, hey, I don't want to have to make a huge dinner. Like, this is going to suck, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't really fight too hard. So I was just like, all right, whatever. I just kind of accepted it. And, sure, for my birthday, I'd like to fucking cook a 16-pound bird and like a bunch of stuff. So I had made a fucking turkey, 16-pound turkey, mashed potatoes, Brussels sprouts with like bacon mixed in, green bean casserole. Like I did all of everything pretty much. Like my wife cut the green beans and boiled them the night before, and then and then I made the fucking green bean casserole. So like I literally made every fucking dish that we had. And then pretty much everybody canceled. Like that was supposed to come over, canceled, except for like my best friend and his brother, who's also kind of my best friend. So yeah, it was pretty much us with like this fucking giant turkey, and then the kids who don't eat fucking. So I should have just been like, listen, I don't want to do, you know what I mean? We could have just ordered food, wouldn't have spent all day. And then, of course, the next day, I'm like, I felt bad because I didn't see my kids all day Saturday. So I'm like, I just felt like I had to hang out all day Sunday. So it was like a whole fucking weekend that was just wasted. Not wasted because I spent time with my kids, but as far as like, the busy weekend of selling shit, I should have just like, I think this is the second year in a row that we've done something like this, and I just need to tell my wife like, no, like nobody fucking shows up. People like only will like it's yeah. I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with it anymore. Let's just fucking let me just work. That's what I want to do on my birthdays. I just want to work, and I want to go to like a card store. So my wife got me Pokemon cards for this time, which was cool. So I got to open some Pokemon cards, and yeah, but like I don't want to cook a fucking turkey, especially if we didn't have to do it on Thanksgiving. Like, why the fuck? So I was like, we can just give it away. Like, I'm sure somebody would still want it. And like, hold on. Oh my god. All right, sorry about that. But yeah, I tried to be like, hey, we could just give this away. Like, there's really no reason for us to have this thing. So yeah, so that day, so that was like Saturday. So I like fucking cooking all day, and then I put a reminder in my phone, but of course things were so chaotic. But I had somebody coming for a Facebook Marketplace pickup, so I had like these Pokemon stuffed animals, so like $40 worth of Pokemon stuffed animals. So I'm like, all right, I meant to go down and get the stuff earlier, so I had it ready for when, because I knew shit was gonna get chaotic. So we were like, everybody who was over at that point, and everybody was going over to my mom's side of the house because you have to like walk around the house to go see the dog or some stupid shit. I don't remember what the fuck was going on. And so I was on my way over there, and I see this car. I'm like, who's this? And then I'm like, oh shit, this is the Marketplace pickup. So I run back over, and because we were having Thanksgiving at the house, I had a ton of stuff that I had to just like, it wasn't even like stuff for the business. It was like, a kid's trampoline, like fucking climbing thing, like a bunch of shit that just like doesn't normally go in there. So I had to bring all that stuff in. So my clean area that had just been like, cleaned out was now filled with fucking stuff again. And so I'm looking everywhere for these stuffed animals, and I cannot find them. I'm like, at this point, I'm a little drunk. I was drinking vodka. I don't usually drink hard alcohol, but I was like, the Bud Lights just have been making me feel all bloated and shit. So I was like, I'll just drink some Tito's and soda. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't like to drink all the time, so I'm very limited as to what I will drink, because like everything makes me hungover. I don't like dealing with fucking, I feel like a piece of shit the next day because I'm not doing shit. So like, if I can avoid drinking, I try to avoid it. I mean, not, I'm not like, oh, I'm fucking sober, I have a problem, blah, 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 blah. I just like, I would rather not, or I'd rather smoke, I guess. But anyway, so like I had smoked, I was a little drunk. I've been cooking all day, and I'm trying to find these fucking Pokemon. So at this point, I'm like, I've got my buddy's new girlfriend in there looking with us. Everybody's looking for these fucking Pokemon. Nobody can find them. I'm like, it's a fucking and in my head, I'm like, oh, it's in a bag. It's a bag of stuffed animals. So I'm like looking for a fucking bag. I'm looking everywhere, and I cannot find it. So I'm like, motherfucker. So I go out, and I had like 2 Pokemon stuffed animals that weren't part of the lot that like I was trying to get a little bit more money for, but they hadn't been selling. So it's like, all right, whatever. I'll just take these off my eBay, give them to the guy since he fucking wasted his time coming over, and then that'll buy me some time. So I go back out, give it to him, because I know I have these fucking things somewhere. I'm like, I know they're in there somewhere. So I go out, give it to him, apologize. I'm like, hey, I can come meet you tomorrow. Like, I'm sorry. Da, da, da. So go in, the guy leaves. A little while later goes by, like probably a few hours go by, and I go into, I think everybody had left at that point. I go into the basement or whatever, and I just like immediately fucking can see the Pokemon stuff. As soon as I walk in, it was like in a basket, like we had made like these, like a hanging system. At one point in time, I was selling a lot of stuffed animals just because I just kept finding stuffed animals everywhere. And at this point, I wasn't like selling on Marketplace, because a lot of times I'll sell stuffed animals on Marketplace cheap, and they go quick. So at one point I was trying everything. Like I had a big stand-up thing with a bunch of stuffed animals in it, like just a ton of stuffed animals. And so now I'm like, I don't buy as many. Still have some stuffed animals, but I'm like, I just don't buy as many stuffed animals because they just do not sell. Some of them do sell for a lot of money, I'm not gonna lie, but some of them just fucking sit forever. So like, I end up just throwing them into my yard sale pile, and guess what? They sell at the yard sale. So, um, I just end up doing that. But like, yeah. So at one point, I had like a little stand-up thing with like, it was like a homemade thing. It was just basically like a little rectangle. What's a cube form of a rectangle? I don't know. Whatever the cube form of a rectangle is, it was like that shape, but it was open on the top and the bottom, and you just threw your fucking stuffed animals in, and it kept them all like in that thing. But then when I would have to go and sort like pull through it to try to find, one of the stuffed animals in there, it was just a fucking mess. So that system didn't work. So I got rid of that, and I don't even know why I started talking about this, but anyway. So then I take the stuffed animals, and I had them in. The fuck did I have them in? It was like it was like a little system that we made. That's what I was talking about. So like we took the little like these little white like shitty laundry baskets. If you have kids in like gymnastics, I'm pretty sure like all the gymnastics places use these little baskets. You'll know what I'm talking about, where like you can put like, they're just like small. So anyway, we had like attached chain, like little cheap chains and hooks to them, and like had made like a little system for storing stuffed animals. My wife had seen it online or something, and it worked all right, but it was like could only hold a certain amount of weight, and like it filled up fast. So anyway, long story short, I don't even know why the fuck I just had to go into that launch. That's why if I smoke, like when I smoke weed, I don't do as much of that. But like sometimes it'll take me a little bit longer to get to my point. It still takes the same amount of time, I guess. And so yeah, so that thing was just hanging like right in front of my fucking face. Like if you walk into the room and just look straight, it would have been just right there. I would have been able to see it. But when you're like, you had a couple drinks, you're upset. Not upset, but like, oh shit, I gotta find this shit. Like I should have looked for it earlier, and I would have been able to find it, no problem. So yeah, it only cost me like probably $20 or something like that in merchandise that I gave away. I met the guy the next day and like sold it to him. Ended up selling something else the next day too. So it was like, all right, whatever. But yeah, it was just that was annoying. I had just had everything cleaned, and I'm like, fuck, man, I can't find anything because there's all this kids shit in this fucking room. It was just throwing me off. So, needless to say, I moved a lot of the stuff out. So it's still kind of a mess in there from last week. I'm trying to get to it. But, eventually I'll fucking get to it. I'm still trying to clean. I just unloaded a ton of toys, of course. And then, yeah, so I still have like a box, like 2 bins that I want to do on Whatnot. And then I think I've got like a ton of minifigures. And originally I was like, I'll do these minifigures on Whatnot, but I think I'm just going to sell them all in one big lot and hope to get like, between $500 and $1,000. There's like 200 of them there with a bunch of accessories. Like there's a shitload of Lego minifigures. So, I'm hoping to get a bunch of money for those. So I think I'm going to sell those. So I'm just trying to like move some shit. I was worried about like getting rid of inventory and not having inventory, but like once I get rid of all this shit, like then I could just fucking put money into buying a storage unit, and then by then it'll be like I have enough stuff to get me through the end of the winter, even with the way that I'm like, selling, just because I've been selling different shit, you know what I mean? So I've been it's been easier to find stuff like that. And then yeah, so speaking of finding shit and getting rid of toys, so I was on this past week. This was an interesting find. So somebody had posted, it wasn't like in like a buy nothing group. It was just like a local page, like a local, like, hey, what's happening in your town? Like, if somebody needs help with something, they put it there. It's like a helping page, basically. It's like, oh, if I just need somebody to come take this stuff, whatever. So this lady posted a picture of his like He-Man figures, and it's hard to tell like what's all in there, but like from what I saw in the picture, I was like, oh, this just looks like run of the mill He-Man stuff, but it's free and it's in my town, so of course I'm gonna fucking try to get it. And so I went and I commented and I sent the lady a message because it said to send her a message. I did my little trick where I tagged her name so she like would, you know, get notified that somebody was talking about her or whatever. And but when I got to the post, somebody else had already commented. Some lady was like, "Oh, you know, I'm interested, blah blah blah." So they had gone back and forth, and she's like, "All right, PM me when you can, you know, come get it." So like I was like, "All right." The lady, and then the other lady was like, the lady who was gifting the stuff commented on my thing and was like, "Hey, it's already been promised, but I can let you know if that falls through." So I'm like, "All right, perfect." Like, Facebook pickups fall through all the time, like constantly. So I was like, all right, let me just keep checking. So I just kept checking to make sure that the like the fuck was I gonna say? I just kept checking to make sure that the post was still up there. So I'm like, all right, you know, this person still hasn't picked it up, because normally if the post is gone, then you know the person picked it up. So like 3-4 hours go by, and there's still nothing's happened to this post. Like everything's nobody else is even like actually one guy did comment, and it made no sense. His name was Adam, which is like Prince Adam from He-Man, and his comment was like, "Whoa, I love He-Man. My brothers named me after him." Like Prince Adam. I was like, wait, why did your brothers name you? Like. So that was a very confusing comment. I was like, what the fuck? And so then I'm like, all right. So it's like 4 hours now. There's no new comments. Nobody's like, hey, can I, interested next, whatever. So I was like, let me just, so I just tagged the lady again. This was like later in the night. It's probably like 7-8 o'clock. And I go, hey, I see this is still posted. I'm still interested, and I could pick up at your earliest convenience in the morning. Let me know. Blah blah blah. Thanks. I'm always very like overly polite too. So the next morning, I'm like, it was like perfect timing. I did my workout, and as I'm finishing up my workout, I see my phone, because I use my phone to do the workout. So I'm like, I see a little notification pop up, and it's like, hey, if you're able to, I'm going to split these up because there's a lot of them. So if you're able to come soon, then you can have them. So I was like, all right, perfect. I literally just finished my workout. So I'm like, all right, I can be there like in 10 minutes. So she's like, all right. So I go, and I get there, and she hands me a giant bag, and it's like filled with fucking action figures. And she goes, oh yeah, I split them up, and I tried to, get the more age appropriate ones for the other lady, because I think she's picking these up for her kids to play with. So I was like, oh, okay, so very polite again. If you have anything else you're getting rid of, let me know. Please keep me in mind, blah, 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 blah. So I go home. I start going through all of these He-Man toys, and a few of the figures I pull out are like rare, like more expensive, like $100 to $150 figures with all the accessories. So I'm starting to notice that like a lot of them do have the accessories, but then they're like missing one or two. I'm like, well, shit, like this is a lot of stuff to be missing. You know what I mean? And this stuff was in real, like usually when you find He-Man stuff, it's like paint missing, the fucking legs are loose or coming off, or missing body parts or limbs. There was probably about like 6 or 7 figures that were, apart. And even though they were apart, they were still in good shape, like good condition, fit, like looking wise. So I'm like, man, I bet like that other half of this stuff has a lot of these accessories. Like, let me just go check and see if this stuff's been picked up. So I check back at the post, and it's still up. And I noticed that the lady had commented, the original poster had commented on the other lady who had said she was coming to pick stuff up, and was like, hey, are you still interested? And that was like an hour prior to like when I had looked at it. So I was like, all right, so this lady can't be that serious about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's not even responding to this lady. So I jumped on the post again, and I was like, I tagged the lady, did my little trick, and I was like, hey, thanks again so much. I really appreciate that stuff. If the other stuff is still available and doesn't get picked up, I'll gladly come get it. Just let me know and I'll come as soon as I can. And so she then like messages me, like comments like, "Oh, will do." So like a few minutes later, a little while longer goes by, and it's like a little bit. It's like probably like 3:30, and I had to get my daughter to gymnastics like 4:15. Her grandma was taking her anyway. Like it was perfect because she had asked for grandma to take her to gymnastics. So I was like, all right, perfect. Like I'll load her in the car and then just go pick up the rest of these toys. So the lady like messages me at like 3:30. I skipped a step. So the lady messages me at like 3:30, and she goes, "Hey, if you can come soon, like you can take the rest of these." Blah 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 blah. It's like perfect. So I shoot over there, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm back." At this point, like I'm just it was just funny because it's like you could have just saved me the trip, saved you like the hassle of dealing. It's like, if somebody says that they're going to come get something on Marketplace or on Facebook and it's not instantly, like, don't even bother wasting your time. Like, they're not, like, more times than not, they are not coming. And so this lady obviously never came. And I feel like I see her name a lot posted, like, you know what I mean? Anytime people offer stuff up, she's like, "Oh, I'll take it," and then it's like, all right. They probably think about it and like, I don't feel like fucking driving over there or whatever it is. So I haven't even gotten to like, the good part of this. So then I'm like, all right. So I go pick it up. And as I'm talking to her, she's like, "Yeah, I bet you'll find a bunch of the missing accessories in there." Like it was like, and then in my head, I'm just like, well, if you know that like the accessories are important, not necessarily even important, but like that the accessories go with certain people, and you're like, oh, like I'm gonna split this up. It's like, all right. Obviously, it's free. I can't complain because it's free. It's just the logic just doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, I get the stuff back and I start going through the bins, and sure enough, it's like a lot of the missing accessories are together. So I start mixing. So I mixed all the accessories and separated the figures and took out the ones that were broken. And I start like, just Google Lens, and it's like I have these bread bags that I use for certain stuff. So I start just bagging up the ones that are complete, and I have a whole tub of them that are just like complete in really good condition. Some of the ones I was looking up was like, here, let me look up some of the ones it was, but it was like crazy ones that like I've never, because as soon as I started seeing them, I was like, oh, I haven't seen these ones before. But it was like Rotar. I think that's the most expensive one I found. It's so it's He-Man Rotar. It's like a dude who spins on like a top, but he comes with like a bunch of accessories, and all of the accessories are there. So there's one on here that's like $375 is what the with free shipping, but I mean shipping's gonna be like fucking $8 to $10. It's not gonna even be that much. So it sold for like $375, another one $300. So like they definitely sell for some good money. And then I found a bunch like that was just like complete. They go for $100 to $150. Another one that was like $200. There's a few vehicles which I found with the He-Man stuff. For some reason, the vehicles don't go for nearly as much as the figures. But these things are in like, I hate using the word mint condition, but these things are like in really, 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 really good condition relative to what I've ever seen. Anytime I find Motu stuff, it is like completely fucked up. But like, yeah, I found a bunch like just complete with all the accessories. So like, I think when all's said and done, I'm probably going to make, a couple $1,000s on this lot just for the sheer volume that is there and how much of it is complete and just what I've found already. Like, I found like about 10 figures right now that I'm sitting at over $1,000 on, just, based on comps. So that was pretty crazy. Like I told my wife, I'm like, dude, this is like, because I wasn't like, I saw the post, and from the post, you're just like, all right, it looks like a lot of broken shit. It doesn't look like it's a lot of stuff. She put like 4 figures up on the top. None of them were any, like one was one I hadn't seen before, so I was like, oh, maybe, you know. Like I think a lot of them were from like the later series, like like sixth wave or whatever, because they always do, you know, different, obviously different waves of their figures, and I just always assumed that the first wave was more sought after, but in this case, there was like a ton of the figures that I've just never seen before. I'm like, I'd never seen this figure before in my life. And with He-Man, it's like you see a lot of the same figures. You know what I mean? You see like fucking. There's one I found that was pretty. The Sorceress, was that her name? I think that's her name. I don't remember if she has another name. I know in the new Netflix show, like Tila becomes her, but I can't remember if she's just the Sorceress or whatever. But I found that one, and that was like the most expensive one I've found before, and that was like I sold that for like 115 to 125, something like that. So, and these ones are like all fucking like crazy. There's ones I've sold before here. Like there's the one that comes with a bunch of different pieces, and I sold it. I think it was just like not even close to complete, and I think I sold it for like $50 or $60. And this thing is like complete. So I'm sure that one's gonna go for some big money. Yeah, but I couldn't believe it. And then I'm going back and forth. I'm like, should I go back with some money? But it's like, it's going to take me so long to sell this shit. Maybe after I sell a bunch of shit, like maybe I'll go back and knock on the door and be like, here's some money. But it's like, if somebody's giving something away for free, I never feel obligated to go back and be like, hey, would you like some money for the thing that you didn't feel like looking up, even though like you had all the resources in the world to do it? You know what I mean? You were able to figure out how to post it on Facebook. You could have looked online to be like, oh, is this stuff so obviously you don't really care. You know what I mean? My wife was like, are you going to sell that stuff on Facebook or on eBay? I think I'll probably sell some of it on Facebook, but some of it I'm going to sell on eBay. Like, she's like, well, won't the lady get mad at you? What the fuck's she going to get mad at me for? Like, she gave it away for free. What if, you know what I mean? Like, I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. It's mine now. I don't give a fuck what that lady thinks. If I did, I would have like showed up and been like her white knight and been like, hey, let me help you sell this and I'll take a commission. Like, no, she just wants it gone. But I asked her, I was like, oh, you have anything else? And she's like, oh, my kids, nothing my kids will let me get rid of. So it's like, oh, fuck. So you do have more good shit. So, but yeah, we'll see. I don't think that lady will hit me up again. I think I was a little too much for her. Not even like too much. I mean, I wasn't like, I just like, I follow up on those posts because I know how flaky people are. So if you're somebody who's just like, hey, I'm willing to come right now, I'm still interested, as long as you're not rude about it, like, hey, fuck this person, but you're just like, you know, hey, just sending it out, just putting it out there, you know, I'm still interested in this, I see it hasn't been picked up yet, I'm a lot more reliable than whoever the fuck you've been talking to. And then usually they're like, all right, come on. And I fucking go over there. And so sometimes if you see something that's like been gifted or whatever on Facebook, you should always just double check because, you know, you never know. So yeah. All right, let me get on my list here because I'm actually like cruising through. I don't know if I'm better or worse when I smoke. Sometimes when I smoke, I can just like power through it. But if I'm tired and I smoke, then I'm just like last week's episode. I think I was a little bit, I think I got through most of the episode and then I was just kind of like tired. But we were also, I think, still kind of dealing with like the up at night stuff. So last like 2 weeks or so, the kids have been better, you know, going to bed. You know, my youngest daughter, we just started having her in her own bed. She's obsessed with putting books in her bed. So like I just went up to put her up for nap earlier today. And that's the other thing too. Like for a while I was not able to do the podcast. I'm like, fuck, like when can I do the podcast? I just have to kind of fit it in. So now that she's sleeping and she's like chilling and I don't have to fucking deal with that, the whole thing, I can just be like, all right, I can come down and podcast and she's going to be fine. She already shit. I already changed her diaper. She's good to go. She's going to do her thing. But when I brought her up there today, she had books all over her bed. And I'm like, all right, let me clear these books out so you're not sleeping on the books like you normally do. And she like got upset with me and she's like, why are you moving my books? She said it in a cute like toddler speak. And I'm like, well, you are keep sleeping on them. Like she passes out at night and I have to go in her room every night and take books out from underneath her while she's fucking sleeping. Because she's like piles a bunch of books in there and then she just passes out. I'm like, what is happening? So yeah, so I had to do that today. So it's been kind of nice though. Now she actually just goes up and chills for a little bit and then sleeps. It's not like not all new. She's back to like sleeping. So it's a little bit easier to do the podcast again, but for a little while, you know what I mean? You don't know how long it's going to last. And when you're in the middle of sleep regression and dealing with sleep shit, you're just like, it could last forever. Like my daughter, my youngest, obviously the same one, woke up 2 nights ago because she's been getting over being sick. I feel like we've been sick for months. Like I'm like, not even like sick, just like I've had a stuffed up nose and, you know, the kids' noses have been running and it's just like has been nonstop. It's like not even like we're sick and like, oh, everybody's better. It's just been like constantly. And so she woke up in the middle of the night. I don't know what was going on with her. Maybe she was like, you know, shit stuck to her nose. I don't know. Shit stuck to her ass. Who knows? So I went in there and it was like a couple times of me having to go in there and like, you know, settle her down and because she sleeps in the same room with her sister, so I can't just like, you know, some people are like, just let her fucking cry. And like she doesn't cry all that, you know, even when we did go up for when she was crying, it was like, you know, she's not a huge crier. Like she rarely cries. Even when she's like not sleepy, she just rarely cries. So like I was just in there and I got her chilled out a couple of times. But it's just like I'm yawning today and I'm not even that tired. I go to bed early. Yeah, so like even after that I was just irritated all day yesterday, like grumpy. I didn't have weed on top of it, so like and that's not even like, it's not like I'm not grumpy because I don't have the weed. I was definitely tired like yesterday because it was like in the part of the day when I don't even smoke, I was just like grumpy and tired and like I was just over it. Like, and the days that happens, like that I'm tired and overtired, that's the day that my daughter does not stop talking to me. Not talking to me. Like, I don't care when they talk to me. They can talk to me all day. I fuck around all day with them. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, I can't. It's just overstimulation. But like on days like yesterday when I'm tired and like I didn't get a ton of sleep because I was like, you know, up at night with the other one. And she's just constantly like, dad, 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 all fucking day. So it was like one of those days. So I but I could tell. I was like, because normally that shit doesn't bother me. I'm like, this shit does not bother me on a regular basis. But I was like, why? Like, I was like, I can't be this grumpy because I'm not smoking. And then I was like, oh yeah, I was up fucking 4 times last night. That's why I'm fucking grumpy. Like today, I woke up fine. You know what I mean? Got a bunch of rest. But man, it's just like, if you don't get enough sleep, it's fucking grumpy. For sure. And like I stayed up for a little bit to play video games. I got so my wife got me Silent Hill 2 for PlayStation 5 for my birthday. And I picked up a copy of like Sonic Frontiers. It was on clearance at Walmart for like $17. So I was like, I'll grab that just because I don't have any games, you know what I mean? I cannot justify $70. I hated spending $60 on video games. You know what I mean? Like on a brand new video game, I hated spending $60. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. But like, you know, if I can get them for my birthday or on clearance, I will. And I'm pretty sure Silent Hill 2 is on discount for Black Friday. I should have told my wife to get it then. I didn't even think about it. But yeah, Silent Hill was like the original one for PlayStation. Was like one of the first games that actually, like, I played Resident Evil and that game didn't scare me. I was like, this game's fucking gay. Not gay, but I was just like, when the dogs jump through the window at the beginning, you're like, all right, like it's cool. The game's cool, like, you know. But Silent Hill just was like another level of creepy and scary. Like, and then the little radio that you have to use that starts, the static just starts going off when it's fucking, there's a creature around you and you just don't know where it is, but you know that it's somewhere around you because you can hear the static. Oh man. So I was like, I could only play it for a little bit. I'm like, all right, I gotta kill the thing, and then run back to the safe zone. Because I could feel myself getting like worked up last night, to where I was like, all right, I was just sleepy. Like now I'm fucking worked up again. Like, all right, it's time for bed. So I like did one quick thing, and saved it, and then, but yeah, but play that. I'm curious if that's still a bolo, if there's a remaster, but I don't know. So there's a lot less stuff in that game than I remember. Like when you're walking around collecting stuff, like I remember collecting a lot more stuff in that game than you do in this one. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck that has to do with anything, but all right, let me check my I talked about Thanksgiving, I talked about birthday Friendsgiving. Oh yeah, I have like 2 fucking returns right now. Luckily, both are for like $20 and $25 or something like that. But still, it's like $40 between the 2 of them. One was, and I thought, I was like, it was like a Halloween costume. It was like, fuck, they bought it and wore it at Halloween. But I was like, I just sold it like 2 weeks ago. It was way after Halloween. So I don't know. Maybe they did just need it for a thing. But they're like, oh, this thing says it's a small, but I think it's a youth size. I'm like, it doesn't say youth anywhere on it, and it looks like it's just a small. It's like a costume. You know what I mean? There's no like. Normally it's because it's a Disney costume, so normally it says it. That's why and I knew normally I include the measurements, but it was so hard to like, because it's like Halloween costume type. It was like the measurements wouldn't be accurate. Basically, it was like something that like you had to like fill out basically with your body in order to get like the right measurements. So they said that it didn't fit, but who knows? Maybe they wore it and then it didn't look like a youth size to me. Like it just looked like a small, like it looked too big for a kid. So I'm assuming they're probably lying, but we'll see. Anytime something like that happens, I'm like, I don't feel like selling this thing again, unless it's something good. But it's like, this thing was like a $20 item. And then the other one was like a disc, not a disc. It was like a Star Trek set. And there was literally one disc that had like this, it wasn't even like a scratches. It was just like, I don't know what it was. I tried to clean it off. It didn't come off, but it was just like blemishes. I couldn't tell what it was. So that disc worked fine, had no issue, but there was supposedly a disc with a deep scratch on it. And of course, like anytime I forget to take, like not forget, but anytime I don't take pictures of the back of the discs, like on a big set like that, I think I did take pictures of the backs. I did take pictures of the backs. So I took pictures of the backs. That's right. I did take pictures of the backs. But this person's like, oh, there's disc 2 or something like that. It was deeply scratched. I have a picture. I want to return it, blah, 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 blah. Or basically like trying to get me to give them a refund. Like they gave me 3 times to try to get a refund. And so I was like, all right, like whatever, just return it. Like, that's my policy. That's eBay's policy. It's like, you have to return the item. If you have a problem with it, return it. I'm not going to give you a partial refund. So they returned it. It's still in the mail right now, so we have to see. So I don't know if they like swapped a disc out, but there was literally, I checked every single disc, and there was one disc that had some issues. I tested that one. The rest of them did not have any scratches on them. And they're like, yeah, this thing had a deep scratch. They sent me a picture of a disc with a deep-ass scratch. So I'm like, all right. It just seems like a lot of work to go to switch out a disc. You know what I mean? So I never like, But like, yeah, the partial refund is just kind of annoying. So I just forced them to return it. Sometimes they don't. And sometimes they do. But this time I think they actually did. The other one, I don't know if they're actually going to send it back. They didn't say anything, but we'll see. I still haven't done another Whatnot, man. I know I've been talking about it, but I have like those Monster High dolls and those Bratz dolls still to do. I was going to do it on Black Friday because they were doing a deal where there was no fees. But again, we had that stupid fucking Friendsgiving party that for no fucking reason. I'm not mad at my wife for that, by the way. I'm not mad at anybody for that. I'm just mad at myself because every year every year I agree to do something stupid for my birthday, and every year I'm like, I wish I should have. I should have just worked. You know what I mean? I don't like. That's what I want for my birthday is leave me alone so I can fucking work, so I don't have to worry about like taking time off and having fun. I, I just want to like have a good Black Friday weekend sale where I'm like, oh man, I'm fucking killing it. So like right now I don't know if you have an LLC or not, but like in Massachusetts where I have my LLC, you have to pay like it's like $500 a year to maintain your LLC. And so I paid it the first year that I had my business, but they don't they don't tell you that when you sign up like or when you get your LLC, you know what I mean? When you're in the process of getting your LLC, they don't tell you that after you have your LLC. Like they don't tell you any of that shit. At least I don't remember that. I mean, this was years ago that I originally filed, but I don't remember them saying anything about an annual fee or anything like that. So I got a letter in the mail that was like from the Secretary of State or something like that, or I think that's what it was. And they were like, yeah, you need to send $500, blah, 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 by this date every year. Da, da, da. So I'm like, what the fuck? So like I call them, verify that that's true, and I'm talking to this person. I'm like not even sure that they know what I'm talking about. So I finally like figure it out, and then you have to like if you want to pay online, they charge you a crazy fee. And so I'm like, all right, like this is dumb. Like there's got to be an easier way to pay it, whatever. I think I had to send a money order. So then the next year I was like, oh, like they'll just send me the reminder because I couldn't remember who I was supposed to send the money to. And then I just didn't get anything in the mail. So I was like, I just completely kind of forgot about it. I was like, oh. And then I was thinking like they never sent me a receipt for that first one. So I was like, was that a scam? Like it would have been a pretty elaborate scam, but they never sent me anything. So then I just, didn't pay that next year. And then coming up on the third year, which would be like this year, I think, third year with the business, they like sent me two things, and they were like, one thing was like you owe $1,000 for the last 2 years, and then the next one was like you owe $1,500, for the last 3 years. So like they basically have me backed up for 3 years that I have to pay by December 31st, I think. So I'm not like crazy worried about it. I have stuff lined up to get rid of so that I can get that money in there. Because I don't like to just like take out of savings or anything like that to pay shit like that. I'm like, I can just sell a few things and like, you know what I mean? So I'm not too worried about it. Plus I'll be caught up. But it's just annoying the way that they do it. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to put in the envelope, like, please give me a receipt. Like, contact me for, like, you know what I mean? Because they didn't give me a receipt. They didn't give me any confirmation that I actually paid last time. I just had to like hope and pray that like I didn't just send $500 to some Nigerian print scam. And then they didn't even fucking confirm with me to be like, hey, here's your receipt. Like, you might need this for taxes, or hey, you know what I mean? They just like, we want our money, but like, we're not going to we don't give a fuck about you. We just like, whatever. We got our money. So, fucking government, man. Ugh, fucking government sucks. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So I'm just like, I want to do the whatnot auction. I want to do as much stuff as possible. That's why I was like, I'm just going to start going through and lotting up a bunch of these toys. Like I have a Transformers lot I'm going to list after this. Yeah, so a bunch of stuff. I'm going to go through and finish up this Masters of the Universe stuff. Once it's complete, I'm like, man, do I just sell it all as like, a mostly complete, not complete set, but you know what I mean? Like a lot with a bunch of complete figures, or just sell them individually. Like the $300-$400 ones, of course, I'm going to sell individually. But, man, it's going to take a little bit of time. I've already gone through most of the bins. So that's what I'm excited to do now, is to just go through and, match up a few more. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll smoke some weed. Take like the reward myself for finishing the podcast. Yeah, we went and got our Christmas tree this last week. It was like Sunday after, after the party or whatever, if you want to call it that. And we had gone out to go do some errands because I was like, let's just like I don't want to sit at the house all day. We've been at the house all weekend. Let's just like go do some stuff. Like the girls, we can go shopping with the girls, whatever, blah blah blah. And we go to get the tree. So I'm like, fuck, like let's just go get the tree. Like I think my wife was like, let's just go get the tree, because otherwise we were like, she was working, and then by the time Thursday or Friday rolls around, you never know what's going to be going on with the weekend, and she works this weekend, and there's like a parade and there's a bunch of shit going on. So we decided like, all right, let's just go and get the tree. Like we're already out and about. Let's just fucking go get it. And I think I had to meet somebody at like 4 to sell something on Marketplace. I think that was the first thing that I had to go sell. Oh, it was a TV. That's what it was. So I put the TV in the car and I just went and met the guy. And so then and that guy came from like Boston, like came like an hour from Boston to get this TV. Some of the links, somebody came, that dude that I think I was talking about that came for the Mountain Dew thing came from like New Hampshire for a fucking plastic Mountain Dew bottle. Like that's fucking crazy. But anyway, so we go and get this tree and we pull in and we go to like pick out the tree, and there's like, the people that are working there that are helping you. And there's like, some young guys, and then there's like this young girl who's not young girl, but like she's probably in her 20s, like probably a college student, but she was pretty hot, like, for a tree, somebody who's getting your fucking tree. You don't expect to, show up, like you expect like a young beefcake sometimes, but like not like some fucking little hottie, you know what I mean? And she had like these cute little fucking things on her head trying to be like festive and shit. And I'm like, so then I'm like trying to like, I have the tree and my wife's like, all right, go get somebody to help us. And she's the only one around. And I'm like, fuck, like I both do and don't want this girl to help us right now. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I kind of get her attention. I'm like, hey, I think this is the one we want, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, did you want a net for it? And like in the past we've gotten the net, and I'm like, it's pointless to get the net. Like the net is just it's fucking just an upcharge, whatever. So I go, no, thank you. I don't need the net. So she's like, all right, just let them know up at the front that you got the special with a net. And I go, oh, no, I don't need the net. I'm sorry, I don't need the net. And she goes, oh, sorry, I thought you said you do want the net. So I'm like, maybe she thought, it was pretty clear that I said no thank you. But I was like, all right, she probably was trying to slip in that little upcharge. So then we bring it back. So I come back and like she's getting ready to load the thing on the car. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I should just take it and be like, oh, I can do this. You know what I mean? But she had all the ropes. I'm like, I can't steal her shine. So she does it, like hooks the fucking thing up. And then I have to stand there waiting to give her a tip for doing like, just like emasculating me. Like, obviously it's their job. I can't like just rip the fucking thing out and do it myself. But just that's just the way it feels. You know what I mean? You're just like standing there like, thank you, miss, for helping me out, you big strong lady. Like, and as I'm just sitting there like waiting, not trying to look at her while she's doing it, because she's obviously like, standing on my car with her ass in the air. I'm just like, all right, let me just fucking, my wife's like, so that after I got it, I was like, I said something about like her being hot or something like that. My wife laughed. It was just, but yeah, it was just, and then what did I go to? Oh, and then like a few days before that, speaking of tipping, this is just, I don't know why. And then, so I went to pick up breakfast sandwiches. I think it was that day, earlier in that day. I didn't feel like cooking because we had a few drinks the night before, and like I don't think we had any eggs, so I was like, fuck, I have to go get some, like I would have to go shopping and then come back and cook. And I was like, I just want food now. So we ordered, there's a place up the street that has good breakfast sandwiches. So I ordered some and I went to go pick them up, and I go, and the girl working at the counter is like a mom from my daughter's school. And so I'm like, oh, like now I have to tip. Well, I was going to I always tip anyway, like on takeout, but I was like, now I have to tip like at least double what I was going to tip before, because this person knows me from my daughter's school, and I don't want to get the reputation of like being somebody who doesn't tip especially because I tip everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but like where it's appropriate. And so I tipped I think I tipped like $4 for 2 sandwiches, which I thought was too much. You know what I mean? Because she's not making them. She's just fucking bringing me up. But she gets the tip. And the only reason I would have tipped like $2, but like the only reason I tipped double that was because like this girl's kid was in my kid's class. So I kind of had to. So yeah. And then the only other thing is I'm going back to school. That's right. I am. I think I already talked about that, but I signed up for my classes. So I actually have to call them after this because I called them and they still haven't gotten back to me. But like, yeah, to do my financial aid, but I'm supposed to start classes in January. So I'm pretty excited about that. Not really. I don't really like school, but shit. I mean, if I can find a way to better my business and expand my business, then I'm going to do it. So I got to get off the phone, get off the mic here. And, I got to hang up with you guys and go make a phone call. So yeah, I'm doing that. I think I'm doing like computer skills or something, which is like I'm not really looking forward to. But yeah. And then this last week, so I went to an estate sale. This is the last thing I'll talk about because I'm running out of time right now. I actually am going up to an hour this week, so I guess I should stop smoking. Well, I actually had a ton of things written down, but I also didn't use it, so I guess I don't know. I guess the verdict is I should not smoke before. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. Some days I'm just like, let me just smoke and talk. So shit, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I went to an estate sale, and like this estate sale, the way that they do it, you like have to reach out prior to the sale, and they'll put you on the list, which I kind of like, kind of don't like because then it kind of removes the aspect of like early bird gets the worm. You know what I mean? You get there first, and you're like waiting, and like you should get rewarded for that. But if that's the system that they use, that's the system they use, and it works for them. They're the only ones that use it, and so it's like whatever. But then what they've been doing is like splitting numbers. They've been like, oh, you have number 8 with somebody else. It's like, I don't know. Just like I was I before that person or after? Just give me number 9 if I was after, and give me number 7 if I was before. It's not that difficult. So anyway, so yeah, I forgot about how shitty estates, not shitty, but like how much competition is at the estate. Like this person, I was going to these estate sales when there was nobody going to them. I would just be walking around the house. I wish I had made better contact with them, but like at the time they just didn't have good stuff. Like half the time they don't have great stuff. This was the first sale that I went to that I was like, oh, this is a good sale. So I ended up getting like a talk boy, because nobody values that. And that thing, like, even if this one doesn't work, but they still go for money when they don't work. I sold another one like for parts within like 15 minutes of listing it last time for like $30 to $40. So like it'll sell pretty quickly even if I raise the price a little bit. And then there's like these Furbies in the picture. So I was looking for those, but those I had a feeling like that stuff, people kind of know that Furbies that go for decent money, especially if you get them cheap enough. And I have a feeling they were probably like $2 a piece at this sale just based on the pricing that they had. So I grabbed that talk boy, and then I go, what did they charge me the most money for? Oh, and then I go and there's a room that like you can kind of tell that that's where the Furbies are, but that's like packed in there with people. So there was one other room that nobody was in. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the room with nobody in it first while this other room is packed. And as soon as I walk in, I look over and I see on the table, I see a Game Boy Advance. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, but it had a game in there. It was like Tetris Deluxe, which is like a $25, $30 game. So, for parts, it's probably like, $50 or whatever. But like they didn't really charge me for that. And then I got a couple other things. I got like a vintage Eddie Bauer Goose Down jacket and like a vintage Mickey Mouse denim jacket that's like they got like hip hop clothes on and shit. So that's a very 90s cool fucking jacket I found in the basement. Yeah, so like it was a pretty cool sale. I don't remember what the point was of that story. I was telling, oh yeah, the Game Boy Advance, I guess. I don't know. But I tried to clean it. I opened it up and like Yeah, I cleaned off some of the corrosion, but it's still not working. So I don't know. I don't have time to fuck with it. I'll just sell it and be on to the next thing. I'm tired of holding on to shit. All right, well, that's the podcast. That's just about an hour. It'll be an hour once I'm done talking. So don't forget, like, subscribe. If you want to tell your friends. And I'll be back soon-ish for another episode. Peace.